In your notebook, write today's date, 9.4, solve polynomial equations in factored form. Copy question number 4. They are asking you to solve the equation. If they ask you to solve the equation, if they ask you to find the roots, they both mean the same. Solve the equation, find the roots means exactly the same. So for question number 4, what you're going to do is, on the left side, you have one inside a parenthesis and another one inside a parenthesis equal 0. So you're going to write y plus 9. You're going to write y minus 1. So you're going to take the first one, write it on the left side. You're going to take the second one, write it on the second side, on the second half. And you're going to set the first one to be a 0. You're going to set the second one to be a 0. So y plus 9 equals 0. Y minus 1 equals 0. Now you're going to solve for y. So this will be a one-step equation, minus 9 on both sides. Cancel. You get y equals minus 9. Now go for the right side. This is also a one-step equation. Add a 1 to both sides. Cancel. You get y equals 1. So when they are talking about solving the equation, your y can either be a negative 9 or it can be equal to 1. That is what they are talking about solving the equation. This is also the same as finding the roots. Copy question number 8. So find the roots of the equation or solve. They both mean the same. Finding the roots of the equation means you need to set it up to a 0. So I'm going to split them into two parts. The first one, g minus 1/8, is going to equal to 0. The second part, g plus 18, is equal to a 0. So this will be a one-step equation, plus 1/8 on both sides. Cancel. You get g is equal to 1/8. Go to the right side, minus 18 on both sides. Cancel. You get g equals negative 18. So solving the equation of finding the roots means your g can either be 1/8 or it can be negative 18. Look at question number 15. Copy this down. This will be an EOC type of a question. They are asking you what are the roots. When they are asking you to find the roots or when they are asking you to solve it, they both mean the same. They want you to find what is the value of y. So I'm going to take y minus 12 and I'm going to take y plus 6. I'm going to set both of them to a 0. This will be a one-step equation, plus 12 on both sides. Cancel. Y equals 12. Go to the right side, solve the one-step equation. You're going to get y equals minus 6. So your y can either be a 12 or it can be a minus 6. Now, after you're done solving, now go back to the answer choices and look at C. Your y can either be a negative 6 and it can also take on the value of 12. Copy down question number 32. So the first thing you got to understand is solve the equation. So you cannot solve the equation unless you have them factored. So step number 1, you're going to look at negative 32y squared minus 24y equals 0. So you cannot split them apart. There are steps involved before you can get to the step which you just learned. So what you need to do is this. You need to look at something common that can go in 32 and 24. So you need to think, what number can divide both? What is the greatest common factor that can divide both? In this case, the answer will be 8. So once you realize the greatest common factor is 8, now we are looking at the negative and the negative. So I'm going to pull out the negative sign. I'm going to pull out the 8. Now I'm looking at y squared and y. So y squared and y, they both have y in common. So I'm going to pull out the y. The remaining goes inside. So when you do a distributive property and multiply, you need to get back the question again. So negative 8y times what will give you negative 32y squared. So 8 times 4 is going to give you 32. Y times y is going to give you y squared. So you get this back again. Now going for the second one. You need to get the negative back, so that means it's got to be a positive. Negative times positive will give you back my negative. 8 times what will give you 24 is what you need to think. 8 times 3 will give you back my 24. And y times what will give you back the y, so which is going to be a 1. 3 times 1 is just 3. So this will be finding the common factor. You might want to pause the video, rewind the video, and watch the segment again. Now from here on, it's actually easy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to split them into two parts. Negative 8y is 1 and 4y plus 3 is another 1. Set both of them to a 0. Now solve the one-step equation. Divide by negative 8 on both sides. You're going to get y equals 0. Now go to the right side. Minus 3, minus 3. This will be a two-step equation. Cancel. It's so easy to get rid of a number which doesn't have a variable attached to it. Equals minus 3. Divide by 4. This is your one-step equation. And you're going to get y equals negative 3 over 4. So for the answer, your y could either be a 0 or it can be negative 3 over 4. And this will be the final answer. Now copy down question number 38. So if you look at this one, you have a p squared, you have a negative 30p. So number one, if you need to solve it, you need to identify that you cannot solve it unless you set it for a 0. So the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to bring them all to one side. So I'm going to do the opposite, which is plus 30p and plus 30p. These two cancel. So if you don't have anything left over on the right side, that equals 0. Now I'm going to rearrange them to get negative 12p squared plus 30p. Remember the order that you need to arrange. The exponent, which is the highest one, needs to come always in the beginning. So using the commutative property, just switching them around. And now I have negative 12p squared plus 30p. So I am looking to see if there is anything common I can pull out. So 12 and 30, they both can be divided by 6. So I'm going to pull out a negative sign, and I'm also going to pull out a 6 because 6 can go in 12, 6 can also go in 30. And now I'm looking at p squared and p. So I'm going to pull out 1p outside. So the remaining needs to go inside. So negative 6p, and if I erase everything, so negative 6p times what should give you back this? So negative, I already have it. So 6 times what is going to give you 12? 6 times 2 will give you back the 12. So I already have the negative sign. And now p squared, but I only have a p. So p times p is going to give me the p squared. And now I need to get a plus. So negative times negative will give me this plus sign. And 6 times 5 will give me the 30. And p is already there. So this is all you need. Set this up to a 0, and now we can pick up speed. So you have minus 6p is equal to 0, and you set up 2p minus 5 is equal to 0. Now divide by negative 6 on both sides. Cancel. You get p equals 0. This will be your two-step equation. Plus 5 on both sides. Get rid of the number which doesn't have a variable. 2p is equal to 5. Divide by 2 on both sides. Cancel. You get p equals 5 over 2. So for your answer, p can either be a 0 or it can be 5 over 2. So this will be the final answer.